Hey y'all, welcome back. It is Therapist Sips and Reviews. So, today we are sipping on an old thing of Buzzball that I had in my kitchen. And why not? I figure I have a little sip of it, even though me and tequila don't really agree with each other. But why not? I'm not gonna drink a lot of this, so. And we are reviewing Tyler Perry's A Fall from Grace. So, stay tuned. So, in doing this review, I'm only going to focus on the three main characters of this movie. Looking at the names, of course, because I suck at names. So, we have Grace, who's played by Crystal Fox. We have Phylicia Rashad, who plays... we have Phylicia Rashad, who plays Sarah. There you go. And then we have Mehcad Brooks, who plays Shannon. So we all know with Tyler Perry movies and all this other stuff, of course it's campy and, some would say stereotypical, patriarchal, hilariously ridiculous. So many words to describe Tyler Perry's movies. But I figure, why not at least try to break apart some of these things that he's trying to say in here and look at some of the mental health ramifications or mental health behind these characters that are in this movie here. So I'm going to start from, I don't do these all the way through sometimes, or I just focus on the main parts. I don't go, scene by scene. So I'm going to start with Grace's story. I'm going to focus mainly on her story and what happened to her. And I'm going to focus on Shannon and Sarah and how they are involved in her life and what mental health issues could be going on with these characters. So, yeah. Okay, so we're starting this story off with Grace. She's an older woman, maybe like in her 60s, late 60s, early 70s. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. But she recently got divorced from her husband, who was cheating on her. I don't know if he was cheating on her with a younger woman or if he just ended up being with a younger woman and marrying the younger woman after, the divorce with Grace. So she's in this, Erikson's developmental kind of chart where, we're looking at integrity versus despair. She's in this point in her life where she is looking back over her life. She's despairing over things that have happened to her, possible choices that she's made. And if you look at Erikson's, developmental stages chart, let me pull it up real quick. And I should have like a little photo here of what his stages look like. But, middle age, you go from generativity versus stagnation. So the middle age discover a sense of contributing to the world, usually through family and work, or they may feel lack of purpose. And then you go into with, senior citizen age, integrity versus despair, like I said. And it's basically when reflecting on his or her life, the older adult may feel a sense of satisfaction or failure. So she's feeling a sense of failure in her relationships, her romantic relationship. She's also feeling a sense of failure in her relationship with her son. She doesn't like her son's wife. She feels that the relationship between her son and her son's wife, her son's wife, she doesn't like it. And so she's kind of distanced herself from her son and his wife. And so she's feeling alone. And so she's talking to Phylicia Rashad's character. This is how this all starts. So she's talking to Phylicia Rashad's character, Sarah. And Sarah's like, you should go to this painter's, this artist, What is it when you go to, I'm losing words here, y'all. Oh, yeah, a sip of this. But when you go to a showing, basically his showing of his art. And, you know, she's egging her on to go. Sarah's like, Grace, you should go. You should just meet this guy and hang out and view art and try to, you know, just get out of the house. So she's encouraging Grace to get out of the house and date and do stuff and all those great things. So Grace decides to go to this art showing. There you go, art showing. And she meets Shannon. He looks to be late 20s, early 30s to mid 30s. Let me say that. I'm not exactly sure how old he is, but he's younger than Grace. He's, you know, late 20s, early to mid 30s. And Grace is looking about late 60s to early 70s, you know. So yeah. She goes to this art showing. He's a photographer, so she's looking at the photographs and she's admiring all the work. And he just like walks up to her and he goes, hey, you like my work? Or something just plain and basic. Like, I don't like him. You know, I don't like the character the whole movie is problematic. But, you know, just, yeah. So, you know, they get to talking at the art show and she's like, yeah, I like your art. So she doesn't know that he's the artist when he first walks up to her. He doesn't tell her that. I just made that little piece up in the beginning because I forgot what he told her. I think he said, hey, you like the art, not my art, the art, or how are you liking the art? Something like that. So she's like, yes, and she's going into detail about all the things she's noticing about the art and why she likes the art and da-da-da art. And so he's like, oh, okay, yeah. He's just nodding, you know, taking it all in, you know, praise, hey, what's up? And then all of a sudden the curator of the museum or the art showing, it wasn't a museum. Words are coming to me. I'm feeling it. So she comes over, pulls Shannon aside and introduces him to the whole crowd as the artist. This is amazing, beautiful, lovely art photographs stuff. So she pulls him aside and then that's when Grace finds out that he is this fantastic photographer, and then she just kind of feels, I guess, embarrassed or whatever, and she just kind of slips out and disappears from the art show and goes home. So next, and this is creepy, and it's been creepy since I seen Twilight, but then even before I watched Twilight, I was watching Lifetime movies, and, you know, you see how abusive people can start, you know, notice the signs, you know, for Shannon, because we've all kind of seen the movie, we know that he takes advantage of her. We're looking at possibly narcissistic behavior, possibly sociopathic behavior. The main difference between a narcissist and a sociopath is the level of crimes that they do. So the more you disassociate yourself from societal norms, the more crimes that you do, the more you go into, you know, a antisocial, sociopathic diagnosis, personality disorder. And of course, the hallmark of this is lacking empathy, only wanting to hurt people. Narcissist is more so like they may be abusive. They also lack empathy, but the goal is praise, personal praise, and fantasies about being above everybody and things like that. For Shannon, I feel like he leans more towards, and I'll put a little picture thing to just kind of show you the differences between sociopath and a narcissist, and you can actually have both, you know, sociopathic narcissists, you know. And if you would think of Marilyn Manson, not Marilyn Manson, the guy that killed the movie star in Hollywood, or that had his people kill the movie, you know, that kind of glorified, like, I want all the attention from these bad things that I'm doing on top of doing these bad things, you know. So it's kind of like they're attention seeking sociopaths. So some of that can be attributed to narcissism. So you can have a mixture both in personality disorders. Now, personality disorders are basically the difference between a mental health and a personality disorder. mental health disorders can happen randomly throughout your life. They can be attributed, are similar to physical illnesses as well. So we can compare physical illnesses and mental health illnesses, with personality disorders, it's a learned behavior over time. It can be, a cluster of mental health disorders as well, but how you respond to those mental health disorders based off of the beliefs that you have in the world over time, so this person over here just has the mental health disorder of depression. When they get sad, they might isolate, they might, sleep a lot, eat a lot, so on and so forth. There's a chemical disruption in their brain. The person with a personality disorder could have depression, but because based off of their beliefs, whenever they feel sad or in pain, they might want to go hurt people because they believe that, other people should take the responsibility because that's how I was taught in life to deal with my pain, and I'm not changing that for what? So, there is a difference between a personality disorder and mental health issue. Personality disorder can have a cluster of mental health issues, just depending on what this person has been through and developed, but it's mainly about the belief system around conflict, around how you live your life. They can be antisocial. Basically, they go against social norms and believe that hurting people or taking or violence or criminal activity is the way that we solve our problems. And it's hard for them to be moved. You can teach them skills and things like that, but it's hard to change the belief system of somebody versus a mental health disorder where a person could have a pretty normal belief system. I don't want to hurt people just because I'm sad or something. But at the end of the day, they still have this mental health issue that they need to work on, and they recognize it and they go out and seek help and get it worked on in a healthy way. So Shannon appears to be more of a sociopathic, I don't know if I want to say narcissist, because what he does is very, I don't know. I don't see him glorifying himself or wanting to be above anybody. I see him just wanting to steal from people and hurt people. So that's why I don't lean too far into the narcissist. But then I don't know that it's a character on a movie. So we're not even going to go, diagnose, whatever. So anyways, Shannon finds out. So this is after the art showing. Grace slips out, goes home. Next day she's at work. I'm assuming it's the next day. Whatever. Next day she's at work, and I believe he sends her flowers and a card. So somehow he finds out where she works. You know what? That's creepy. Going back to what I was saying earlier, as far as, ever since Twilight, ever since I was little and watched Lifetime movies, that's creepy. You don't just find out where you don't find out, like, even if she did sign the guest book, did she write a number in there? You could call her maybe, I don't know. But like, why are you finding out personal information of somebody that you only talked to for like 2 seconds? But whatever. So Grace has this epiphany. She's just like, I don't know if I want to go out with him. I don't know if that's okay that he found out where I work. And then here comes Sarah, Grace's lovely best friend next door. And she's just encouraging her to go out with this man that's, found out where she works. We don't even talk about how young he is. That doesn't matter. People can be evil, young or old, So Grace kind of talks, or Sarah talks Grace into going on this date here, or going out with him. So she goes out with him, and I don't know what it is with these diners. Why is your first date at some random, you know what? Maybe I'm bougie. Maybe it's living in my 20s and scraping by in these relationships that has me be bougie. And why are we dating at these diners? Why? And she's a grown woman that makes, a good amount of money. Why are you taking her to a diner? So they end up at because in Queen and Slim, they were at a diner and she was a lawyer. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. So they end up going on the first date, at this diner. And, they're talking back and forth, getting to know each other. And he's whining and dining her, complimenting her. And from then on, we have this montage of him doing all these romantic things and taking her to like the garden with the fireflies and all these just extra special, just charismatic, Gardens are free too, I'm just saying, like, I just noticed that he was doing a lot of free or really cheap things to kind of, but not that it matters. Not that it matters. Because, in the Lifetime movies, they be rich and stuff. And they wine and dine these women too. And, 5-star restaurants and whatever. And, so extremes, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so he's whining and dining her and doing, and Grace is just soaking this up. She's not having sex with him as well. She refuses to have sex with him. So they don't have sex, and he appears like he's fine with it. He even goes to church with her, even though during the church scene it was funny because you could just see his face. He didn't want to be there. He did not want to be at that church. He did not like being at that church. He was just so uncomfortable. Anyways, so he proposes to her. I think this is like literally after 6 months, because at one point she's talking about how, I think I just scratched some of my eyebrow off. I didn't even, it's fine. So he proposes to her like literally, I think, after 6 months. And I guess that can work out for some people, but I just feel like that's really soon, But if it works for you and this person is consistently showing you positivity and love and all this stuff, then that's great. But anyways, they go from, she was talking about she waited for 3 months before having sex with him to 6 months where he's proposing to her. And then they end up getting married, and as soon as, it's like almost as soon as they get married and have sex, he just flips the script and starts turning into this asshole. Calling her names, putting her down. Had a whole woman in her house, a whole woman in her bed. Just didn't care. Just did not care whatsoever. Just a whole woman. And, she later on, or actually she finds out right after they get married. This is how things start going downhill. So things start going downhill when she finds out that she works at a bank, and somebody has gotten her passwords from the bank and stolen money from her accounts. It looks like she did it, so the bank is firing her, and then they want litigation against her. She doesn't know what's happened. And then she has a house that is paid off, and all of a sudden there's a mortgage on the house, and she doesn't know what's happened either. So she spends a good portion of this movie not believing it could be him, not even thinking about the possibility that it could be him. No thoughts whatsoever that it could possibly, this new person, she trying to find like an identity theft, somebody stole her identity, any other possibility, until she finally goes to the bank and she requests the video for the day that a mortgage was signed on her house, and she sees him in the video, so she confronts him, of course, and come to find out, lo and behold, ta-da, he done signed a mortgage on her house. And then he just flipped the script. He started talking about how this is his house, they're married, he can do what he want, all this, I love you, but I don't love you like that, or something, I don't know. And then we start seeing this downhill snowball effect. There's a whole woman in her house. He's talking to her like, you old bitch, and all this other stuff. And it's a lot, it's a lot. Plus his wig was ugly, but that's Tyler Perry movie, so. Oh, why can't he just have his fade? Like, he usually has a fade. I mean, I remember him from Dancing with the Stars. So, you know what? He should have just had his regular hair. That's all. Just regular hair. Anyways, so he just starts going on these tirades, talking mess about her. She will get upset, and then he'll just be like, I don't give a fuck, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, one day he's talking to her, he's sitting in a chair, just going on his tirade, talking about, I took care of you, and I was here for you, and I had sex with you, and this is I think this is the same day that she found him in bed with that other woman in her house, and the other woman thought that was his mom, of course. Yes, yes, she did, and he agreed that that was his mom as well. So he's sitting in the chair after the woman's leaving, going, you ugly bitch, and I loved you, and you did this, and and I did everything for you, and blah. And she flips out, comes up behind him, and beats him in the head with, I think it was a poker from the fireplace or something. She beats him in the head a few times, and then drags him over to the basement and leaves him there. So then she drives, whatever distance out of town. She's in shock or whatever. And, she's in shock. And so she drives out. I'm trying to think. Oh, this is why I don't drink tequila. What? And so she drives out and she calls Sarah. And she tells Sarah, like, hey, I killed him. He's in my basement. And then I guess somehow, some way, she ends up, going to jail. They never find his body. She ends up going to jail anyways, and they put her on trial for murder. This lawyer comes in. She's another main character. She tries to defend her and things like that. She finds out the true story, and basically, she didn't want to defend her at first. She just wanted to have her cop a plea deal so that she can, be done with the case. But she, heard her story, saw her crying, and believed her. So she defends her, and Grace ends up being found guilty. This is where this whole movie just turns into like this blah, blah, blah. It's just blah. Like, what's happening? I thought this was like an abuse story. Now it's turning into some mega like kidnapping story. So the lawyer, after she loses the case for Grace, goes to Sarah's house, because Sarah she spoke for her in court, and then she admitted that Grace called her, and in court she admitted this. She admitted that Grace called her and told her that she killed somebody. So Grace loses the case. So the lawyer goes to Sarah's house, after the trial was over, she was going, I don't know if she was going to Sarah's house or if she was going to Grace's house to check on, where the body was and all this other stuff. But she was on that street doing something. So Sarah also is supposed to be, her home is also supposed to be a home for older people. Senior citizen home, whatever. And so she runs into one of the older people that Sarah is supposed to be taking Sarah is supposed to be taken care of on the street. She's played by Cicely Tyson. And I just feel like, I hope Cicely Tyson isn't just acting in these movies because she needs the money or something, because she's old, okay? She needs to be in the Bahamas, just living life. I hope she enjoys this acting in these movies. I hope that she's not having to feel like she has to do this because, money and stuff like that. So, because she needs to be chilling in the Bahamas all year, just relaxing under the sun, relaxing, But anyways, she runs into Cicely Tyson on the street, one of the older women that Sarah's supposed to be taking care of. And Cicely Tyson, is acting like she has dementia. She's saying, I want to go home. I want to go home. And the lawyer's thinking like she wants to go back to Sarah's house. But in reality, it's like darker and deeper than that. So they get back to Sarah's house. Cicely Tyson is then going on about how Sarah's a bad person and there's people underneath the stairs and whatever. And so the lawyer goes down Sarah's stairs, goes down into her house and finds the old people It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny. But it's like the setup for this is hilarious. So she finds the old people that are living underneath Sarah's house in the basement. It was just nasty, filthiness. And then she finds Shannon too. Shannon tries to attack her. So lo and behold, she calls her boyfriend, who's a cop, and the cop comes over and beats Shannon's ass, and whatever. And all the police come over, and Grace is exonerated because it come to find out Sarah is Shannon's mom, and they've been running this scam on older people to steal their their social security and all their other stuff, and then keeps them hostage in their home and whatever. And even the photographs that was at Shannon's art show belonged to an older lady they had kidnapped and stuff like that, and he was using them to make money. It was a lot. So come to find out, Sarah was a sociopath. She just went from place to place stealing from older people, sometimes killing them apparently. And Shannon was also a sociopath apparently. It feels like he was. It feels like in my spirit they had antisocial personality disorders. No empathy, violent behavior, goes against society's rules and regulations and societal norms, and goes against regular societal behaviors and all this other stuff. Yeah. So that I believe Shannon ends up in jail, but then Sarah ends up somehow escaping. I don't know, that's never explained. And she ends up working as, believe a nurse or something at another senior citizen residence. And that was the end of the movie. Grace is free. Her lawyer, that lawyer was a sucky lawyer though. She didn't know what she was doing. She did not know what she was doing. She didn't. I promise you she didn't. She didn't. And yeah. So it was a movie. 2 sociopaths, 1 older person that was going through despair of her life being taken advantage of. And also kind of goes into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So basically, Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that, get my phone, I'm gonna put a little picture too, just cause, so y'all have it. So we all have needs, and basically Maslow's hierarchy of needs says our most important need first is physical, the need for air, water, food, rest, and health. Security, the next need that we need to feel safe in the world. Security, the need for safety, shelter, stability, so a roof over our heads. Social is the next need. The need for being loved, belonging, and inclusion. So after we have a roof over our head and after we're healthy and after we have a roof over our head, then we want people around us is the next need. And this hierarchy of needs has been argued against, but we're going to use it for this case. And the next is ego, the need for self-esteem, power, recognition, prestige. Last need is self-actualization, the need for development and creativity. And it's interesting that we have a need to socialize before we have a need to take care of our self-esteem. We have a need to socialize before we take care of our creativity and, self-actualize. We have a need for people in our life before we have a need to develop who we are as people. And I think that applies in this case. She had a need. She felt despair about her life. And she had the job. She was healthy. She just felt like she needed somebody to love instead of working on herself and her own issues. Not that she's to blame for this. Someone came in and saw that she needed help working on herself, and they took advantage of that. So that's not her fault, because I could easily, if I have a friend that I see, they have a vulnerability, I'm going to work with them on their vulnerability and grow I'm not going to be like, oh, they have vulnerability. Let me see how much stuff I can get out of them. So, you know, and it's really interesting how all of that worked out. So, yeah, we have, like I said, Grace, who's going through some developmental changes and stages in her life that were, you know, maybe causing low self-esteem, low self-image. We have Shannon, who was raised by a mother who obviously has issues because they've been doing this to women. I think they said for about 15 to 20 years, something like that. Older people, they've been doing this to older people for about 15 to 20 years. So he grew up with that. So if his mother hurts other people, imagine how she treated him. So this is the life that he knew. This is the belief system that he had. And then his mother, Sarah, whatever she was going through, whatever experiences that made her feel the need to hurt elderly people. Yeah. So, and then this kind of all goes back to like cycles of trauma in families. Because this is what from mother to son. Imagine what, like I said, what Sarah's mother is like. What is Sarah's mother like, you know? And through all this, Grace is feeling despair over her own son's relationship with his wife. But her son was like literally fighting for his mother. He came to the lawyer's office to argue and say, you know, I need you to help her, which also kind of helped the lawyer go more in the direction of fighting for her case than demanding a plea. So, you know, he was like there for her. They didn't get into their relationship that much. To know that that was a part of what kind of kicked off Sarah's feeling of vulnerability and loneliness, they didn't go into that much, you know, and it kind of sucks because it would have been nice to see like their dynamic together. You just kind of saw him fighting for her and wanting her to get out of jail, and believing that she didn't kill this man and all this other stuff. So yeah, that was a fall from grace. A little tipsy. Yeah, a little tipsy. I'm just looking around like, a little tipsy. Let's set that 3 times. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope it was insightful and helpful and interesting and all sorts of magical, wonderful, great things. Also, I'm going to be starting to do ASMR videos. Not the voice. I don't like the voice. I'm going to start doing slime videos because I'm a very tactile person and I enjoy slime. And I'm going to probably post a video maybe before or after this video if you're interested in ASMR or things to kind of work on building your relaxation skills. I hope, you know, you check out those videos that I post and I hope they're helpful for you. But yeah, I'm gonna probably throw this out because tequila is not my thing whatsoever. And yeah, that's it. Like I said, tequila is not my thing, but I have a giant thing. This has literally been sitting in my kitchen for like a year and a half. I have not drank this really. I don't know. I don't throw them away. I just keep them. I'm like, well, if I have company, they might want some BuzzBall. Not like wine or something nicer to drink. I don't know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope to post more. I love doing these reviews. They're fun. Okay. As the great Tino from The Weekender said, as the great Tino from The Weekender says, later days.